Hello. This is a presentation for a project in my IT356 class. I am John Bailey. I'm a senior, computer science senior at Illinois State University, and this is a rendered OpenGL real-time 3D scene. I'm calling it a trip to the wilderness. Yeah, it looks good. It's a good name. This project is a real-time 3D scene built in OpenGL, and it demonstrates a tile-based terrain system, dynamic lighting, and uh, model rendering and transformations integrated into a single interactive environment. I built the scene using OpenGL, GLFW, GLAD, and GLSL shaders. The project uses a tile-based terrain system. It has dynamic lighting and a skybox that simulates a day-night cycle and has instance rendering for improved performance in the tile uh, drawing tiles and for the floor and multiple 3D models in a shared world. Uh, Now, the terrain uses a tile renderer class that draws the terrain features. The model class just holds the model instance data. Uh, the lighting is directional and point lights. The camera system is a first-person navigation with the locked Y position so that it doesn't go up or down, and a skybox to render the distant environment. And here's a little preview of that, what that looks like. Uh, my tile-based terrain system, you can see here, has different tiles. I got some water, I got some sand, some grass. All of these tiles were drawn by AI. It is the only thing that is done by AI in this is the creation of these tiles that I'm using for the terrain features. The texture arrays are broken up into chunks, two by two chunk grid, 64 by 64 tiles total. The texture arrays are used to vary tiles to make a more interesting world for you to experience, and the instance rendering of tiles allows for the increased performance. Only needed to pass texture ID to select textures to be used at each instance's location. Each tile is rendered as a 2D quad in a flat plane parallel to the camera's operation, creating the floor. Excuse me. My model system is using a model transform struct to allow for individual rotation per model and corrective transformations to orient them properly in the world before any other rotation transformations are used. These models were actually taken from Sketchfab and Polyhaven using open source license. And Uh, there's a correction matrices. They support multiple instances per model by containing a pointer to the model class it is representing, world space location and its orientations for. My lighting system is directional, including a simulated day-night cycle, point lighting, such as lamps. It uses a Blinn-Phong shading model and has dynamic light culling so that only the closest 8 lights to the camera are rendered. Um, Skybox is a cube map, and it represents the distant environment beyond the world to give it some the feeling of real distances, and it's those distances are relative to the camera. So it's invariant. The distance is invariant, but the camera can change direction and see the different edges of the cube. Uh, the brightness modulated is based on the time of day, which is based on the height of the simulated sun. Uh, I procedurally move the sun using system time, and it scale as the sun moves. It scales ambient, diffuse, and specular uh, values, so that when they get sent to the shader, they are different, um, and it actually simulates day and night properly. Uh, the controls, let me show you, are D to go right, strafe right, A to go strafe left, W to go forward, D to move backwards, and I got mouse look set up, so moving the mouse moves the direction the camera is looking. So if you want to look right, you can. Strafe left and look right at the same time, going in a circle. And you can also zoom with the scroll wheel on your mouse. There is a wireframe and wireframe mode, so that you can see the quads used. And back to fill. And there is, you can rotate objects they can vary independently. You can see this lantern is moving differently from this lantern. And this lantern over here is moving completely different. I didn't want the bridge to move, so I did not have a model transformation for the bridge. For rotation, other than that, all the models move when you rotate. P to pause rotation, and escape to get out of the scene. I'm not going to do that just yet. Uh, arrow up and down to control time-based functions. So it's nighttime right now, but I want the day to come sooner, so I roll time forward with the up arrow, and suddenly it's daylight. But I didn't like that. Let's go back to nighttime. I'll hit back, or down arrow, I mean, and now the sun is gone, and it's nighttime. So for performance reasons, I got instance rendering for the tiles because there's 1,024 tiles and I didn't want to have it iterate through a loop and load each of those individually. Uh, so there's an instance draw call using a 3D tile or 3D texture array in the tile shader that allows this to instance draw instead of doing a per vertex draw call or per quad draw call. Texture arrays are used instead of individual bindings to so that I can only thing I have to do is pass the texture index and the specific tile is drawn with that index. And I didn't talk about it, but back in the lighting, I also use gamma correction to make sure that the scene lighting stays linear. Um, Other limitations and constraints I had were I only used a 2x2 chunk terrain system. It is not dynamic. Uh, there is no full scene graph. I manually transform every model. And I've limited the dynamic lighting count. Models assume the consistent scale between units and models. Uh, and in closing, I've demonstrated a real-time rendering pipeline with terrain, models, lighting, and environmental effects integrated into a single interactive OpenGL scene using these systems. These are the where I got all of my textures. Zal, G, and Killiers R created the Nemaqualand boulder that you see in the center. Uh, Halber Dev created the Old Stone Bridge model. You can find that on Sketchfab. You can find the boulder on Polyhaven. You can also find the wooden lantern by Cock JR in Polyhaven as well. The Skybox is provided by the instructor. I don't actually have the original source attributions, and all of the tiles textures were created by AI and edited by me to allow the to create the effect I wanted for those terrain objects. Thank you for your time and have a wonderful day.